Okay, well, the All Progressives Congress Committee on Restructuring last week presented its report to the national chairman of the party, John Odige Oyegun.
Yeah, the committee made several recommendations that it said were based on the opinions of Nigerians. So some of the key recommendations are resource control, making local government an affair of states, constitutional amendment to allow merger of states, state police, state court of appeal, and independent candidacy.
Yes, indeed. Well, we have details in this report.
In what is a bipartisan approach, Governor Siriake Dixon says despite belonging to an opposition party, the ruling All Progressives Congress deserves commendation for the patriotic recommendations by its restructuring committee. The approval of broad recommendations such as state police, fiscal federalism, merger of states, powers to states to create as many local governments as they want, and powers to states to own mineral rights are some of the devolution of powers that Governor Dixon says deserve commendation by all Nigerians.
And so I want to appreciate them and say that at this point, we're all sincere, as I believe they are, about redressing the injustices and the inequities of the issues that have been proposed. All very critical issues. The issue of policing, the structure of our nation's judiciary, the issue of control of land and resources vested therein, and so on and so forth.
The PDP governor is now asking for an urgent multi-party coalition to fine-tune details of the recommendations by the APC Restructuring Committee. He believes the resultant final document from such a collaboration can then be sent to the National Assembly to further amend the Constitution before the 2019 general election.
We need a multi-party committee to discuss and agree and develop consensus on the details, and possibly work on draft legislations, bills that will be jointly sponsored so that we can present these bills to the National Assembly for their deliberation. And all of us need to mobilize national consensus around these issues and engage the leadership and indeed all the members of the National Assembly. PDP must be interested in this. The national chairman and his team will give their reaction on behalf of the party.
Also speaking on the activities of his reconciliation committee, Dixon said he will be meeting next week with one of the PDP chairmanship aspirants that took the party to court, Professor Tawhid Adedoja, to seek an amicable settlement. Somna Sambu, TVC News, Abuja.
Okay, that's the part of the foundation of what we're talking about. Now we have joining us a public affairs analyst, Alistair Wilcox, in the studio. Alistair, good morning.
Good morning, and
nice
thank you for having me. Yeah, it's nice to see you
Good.
this morning. Thank you.
Now, there are concerns that, remember the constitutional conferences that were held at different times where Nigerians feel that, okay, one way or the other, you have supporters, you have those against, and so on. The will to carry out this thing. A committee was set up by the APC to restructure, or for restructuring as the case may be. And there are so much concerns that the political party is the one championing this, not the government per se. What will be, how feasible or how implementable will this thing be?
Well, the political party, the government is a product of the political party. And the political parties have agendas and manifestos. And I was meant to understand, I know, I've been told, or it's been generally touted that APC in their manifesto has restructuring of the country as part of its agenda. So either government or party, so long as it is the same party that produces the government that is championing, I think it's something that is worth looking at and giving the benefit of doubt rather than seeing it as dead on arrival. It's not just a one-man thing. A party or the government cannot wake up with the stroke of the pen and turn things around, because it's not a military dictatorship. We're in a democracy where every facet of the segment of society is expected to contribute to whatever lawmaking or whatever process that we have to do. So I think since it is the party that formed the government and the party has woke up to say, okay, let us look at this issue, I want to give the benefit of that we can take it from there.
Yeah, but some are already questioning, like the Eastern ECA. They're already saying, look, there's a big question mark on why now. Why is it that the APC has, set up this committee on true federalism and now has come out with this 12-point agenda only 1 year to the election?
Well, it's there is
questioning the integrity and the real motive behind this. Is this just to, grab the next election and then we go back to this debate over restructuring?
I will sincerely not pray that should be the case. There's no time that is. I mean, it is said that whenever you wake up, it's your morning. There's no time that anything is not appropriate to be done. And also, let's look at it. When this government came into power, the government had a lot on their bill to grapple with, economically, socially, and otherwise. The government had quite a lot on their bill.
Is it not because it did not tackle the foundational issues, which restructuring, according to quite a number of people, would be the foundation that you need to lay?
Misled and misguided opinion. I mean, for me, I don't see how restructuring is a panacea to solving all our myriad of problems. You see, the problem we have in this country is that we always tout something. Anything that comes up, we carry it so far that people do not sit down to look at all the aspects. What is even the restructuring we are talking about? And as an individual, I cannot tell you I am a 100% advocate of restructuring. I'm only advocate of restructuring of the mind and of the characters of people that runs the institutions. Because Nigeria, we have too many laws. And there was a program I was in one of your programs, and I said, if you talk of restructuring, Nigeria has been restructuring ever since independence. We moved from a three-region structure to a 12-state structure to a 19, go to 30,
21,
go to 21, 30, 36. We moved from how many local government to 770 some local government. We moved from military parliamentary government to military dictatorship to presidential. So all these bits are part of restructuring. So, but when we're looking at it that it's going to be like a house that you cut here and cut there and put this, and they were making a big mistake. Look, there are foundational issues, which is the orientation of our minds to nationalism. That is why I supported this president based on what happened in 1984-85, when war against indiscipline was launched and various aspects of that war, of that program was launched. One of them was patriotism and nationalism. And we know what those who can still remember knew what that program did in the psyche of Nigerians.
Why has it not been sustained if it's succeeded?
Because the fact is, every government has its own agenda. If it was rooted, those programs then changed the psyche of Nigeria.
Yeah, but the manner in which all of those things were carried out that time violated human rights.
Look, today we all applaud Asian tigers. We all make reference to what they call it, Singapore. We all make reference to Malaysia. We all make reference to China. For goodness sake, you and I knows that those people are benevolent dictators. And sometimes you need some form of benevolent dictatorship to get things done. Because it is not, our democracy or our environment, we had either to not have the foundational structures for things to just evolve. Because both society and leadership are almost coming from the same, from the same angle. So there must be somebody that will apply some form of, not outright
benevolent dictatorship, you say, but the benevolent aspect of it seems to be left out.
No, but it was there even during that period. But so let me not take us back to those. But you see, if you're talking about APC's program now for restructuring, what are the components of what we are looking at in their program? What are the timelines? So even if we're saying 1 year, even if this thing started 4 years ago, I tell you, we may not have been able to finish it because it is a whole gamut. If you are talking about things like resource control, there must be you work out, because it's not just to control resources. You work out some arrangements for which things, and put the mechanism in place for which it will be properly done to have a streamless.
You said you certainly not necessarily believe in the restructuring necessarily. You talk about the process. Now, the APC has set up a committee or a panel and come up with recommendations. The president, in his New Year broadcast, said that there's no problem with the structure of Nigeria, it's just a process. But Nigerians say to achieve true federalism, the way it's supposed to be, there has to be restructuring. So, are we likely seeing some conflicts here between the party on one hand and the president on the other?
I do not see conflict. Well, the president is an individual, just like me, saying too that I am not a fan of the much touted restructuring as a panacea to our El Dorado. I see the operations of the structure we have as the issue, okay, more of the issue than of the problem. So if the party, of course, the president is a member of the party, and the party says this is where we are going because we know that this is what majority or the public opinion is tilting towards, I think the president will be uptight not to the party's line. He has made that clearly over and over again, that those who are canvassing for whatever issues, structuring, should go to the National Assembly. And even with the party's position now, the party will not wake up or one fell swoop and sign off on that. It must go through the process. And I'm happy that the governor of Bayelsa State is keen in, I mean, from the report we made, is keen in and asking for a broad-based concessional platform where every other parties can make input into what goes National Assembly. So it's not a process that is like a 100-meter dash. It's a process that's like a marathon that could take quite some years to achieve fully. No, so all those who are thinking that, oh, the moment it goes to National Assembly, the gravel is knocked, bam, the next day Nigeria become a restructured entity.
So what you're saying in essence, like Cassius said in Julius Caesar, the fault is not in our stars, but in ourselves.
I believe so.
It's really about the substance and not the form.
Exactly,
It's
I believe
about
so.
the people who drive the system
I
not the system necessarily.
I totally believe so.
So what you're saying, even if Nigeria comes to the point where we actually go the way of restructuring, whatever manner of restructuring we adopt at the end of the day, if we don't restructure our minds, apologies to former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
That is great.
This will not go anywhere.
It will not go any, because even right now, it will not go.
Okay.
It will end up creating more monsters. For instance, like one of the issues talking about, which is mostly touted today when you hear instruction is resource control, through federalism, resource control.
Okay, let's look at some of what APC is planning to do to consult the 2005 Political Reforms Conference, number one, the 2014 Confab, and other previous national conferences that Nigeria has had over the years to determine its position on this issue of restructuring. Of course, it has held public hearing in different places, Enugu, Ibadan, and Benin. How soon do you think the APC can, in all honesty, begin to lay the groundwork, how much more the process of restructuring to actually put it in place? And what kind of restructuring do you think the APC should be considering? Right
now, you see, when you have such a situation, you look for the low-hanging fruits, first of all. Right now, they recommended something that is very germane, which is tinkering with the exclusive and concurrent list. Already, the process of amending the constitution is before National Assembly. Now, some of the issues that are in contention today is what is embedded in the exclusive and the concurrent legislative list. Now, so if, as the discussions are going in the National Assembly now, it is factored in, okay, let us adjust those ones. There are some issues left to me, I mean, that is even what I believe more in. There are some issues that I don't think the federal government should have exclusive legislative preferences over.
Like what?
Things like things like railway,
even power generation.
Power generation. In fact, what is the federal government business in that? They can even let it go. What is federal government doing with agriculture? Yeah. Okay, so those can go. Apart from regulatory oversight and things like that and policy, but those can go. So there are so many other things that the federal government has burdened themselves with. You know, regional integration, water resources and all those things.
Housing,
environment issues, transportations. So these are things that you can quickly rejig those lists so that states can have more responsibilities. You are looking at then revenue sharing formula right now. It is people say it is tweeted more to the federal government, but by the time I did the analysis, maybe one of that time, you discover that states and local government has more money than the federal government put together. You will never believe it. By the time you look at the revenue profile of the country, if you look at the budget of the country, the federal government budget for 2018 is 8 trillion. The states to combine together, all the states combined together is 9-point-something trillion. We're now adding local governments. If you add local government, you find that you get about 10 trillion. So the federal government and the states, it's clear that the states combined has more resources, more this thing than the federal government. But everybody looks at the federal government.
Well, that's the structure they're talking about.
No,
but anyway,
the structure is already there. It's already there. It's just that we have refused to operate the structure the way it is.
Okay. Well, that's the opinion of Nigerians. Now, some of the issues they want to talk about, on the 12-point agenda, independent candidacy is there, state police, local government, mineral resources, constitutional amendments, revenue allocation, minimum wage, citizenship,
type of legislature,
exactly,
whether
business
bicameral or
stamp duty
unicameral
issues and all of that. Well, there's so many, several of them that really Nigerians want these things changed, and we look forward to seeing how they're going to play these things out.
Well, for me, I think Nigerians should have a broader mind on this issue. Not narrow it now to resource. Let's narrow it down to leadership first of all. Narrow it down to citizenship. Narrow it down to what I would call reawakening of the Nigerianness in us. Understand? Patriotism.
That patriotic Nigerianness.
So let us take it there. Let us take it to that level. By the time we are all patriotic to a common goal, I think whatever structure that we have, the operators will be able to operate within the ambit of what is available, not creating chiefdoms and the small gods everywhere. You want to reduce the federal god, you will now want to create 36 or 774 gods. I mean, that would be more dangerous for us. Until we change our minds, I think all those things will just be a mirage.
All right, Alistair Wilcox, thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my utmost pleasure. Thank you very much. And I was Happy New Year. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Even though it's an old year now.
We're still in January.